Hi, good morning. Welcome to Practical Emotional Intelligence.
Right. I was attending a training session on PASH because I'm a member of the internal committee of my company.
Oh,
Okay, so we did not happen to encounter any much number of cases. There was only one particular case. Okay, but yes, it gives like as per the law what exactly can be done. A lot many other insights which I did not happen to have earlier.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
So when she was talking about the mindfulness, there was not much in depth that she spoke about. Okay, but yes, that like we don't know what kind of verbal or physical body activities can lead to any other kind of perception about us to the other person, and that could lead to the uncomfortableness that person happened to have. And again, it can go ahead and get a complaint against you. So that's what she was talking about.
Yeah. I think also a lot of people, it depends is also on the culture from where these people come. So one of the organizations I worked before, it was a call center for
Mm-hmm.
ID for premium customers though. So they had soft skills trainers and other things. So we were a team, but the major crowd was very young and like full of energy, and they, of course, there were men, women alike and other things. So there were couple of such cases where there were advances or whatever, and it is also like, you have the night shifts and other things when not many people are present. So I have also experienced that, lot of times there was a misunderstanding also
Mm-hmm.
that could happen because the culture from where this person is coming, he or she thinks, oh, this kind of advance means this, or they've seen in a movie or Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook does a lot of this, I feel, impact also, where people take things, earlier they might take all good, but later because they watched Crime Patrol or some media things, they
Right.
start taking things otherwise. So I feel, yeah, media also has a very big part to play in the kind of cases that come nowadays. So, across my career, I've seen a few, here and there, but like the same gender things or whatever are coming because a lot of things are happening right now which are media impacted. People try those things just for fun also sometimes, and this crowd is very young, like 19, 20, 21. The
Mm-hmm.
development maturity is very low. So when we saw that and we asked, why would you do this? And this person said, I just trying something I saw on Instagram, and then the other person took it wrong. So I was like, really? And then as a committee, we didn't know where to go because we had to charge or do something right about it.
Right.
It was very innocent, like, and the other person we know is a little manipulating kind of a behavior, but even if you
Mm-hmm.
know personally, if you don't have proof, that person is proven as victim under Posh. So
Right.
it's a very tricky game, I feel. But at the same time, yeah, mindfulness plays a very big role in these kind of things also.
Right. When Nikki was talking about the other day, the like inclusivity and in diversity, hiring each and everything. Okay, that made me realize about my second organization, where these things were quite common way back in 2008, if I talk about.
Hmm.
Okay, and the only reason people were apprehensive not talking about these people, okay, or anything as such, just because the company had a very strict policy in terms of ethics and all, okay. So there was an anonymous ethics department. So let's say someone happens to complain
Hmm.
about you, that even if you were staring at the other person in a very inappropriate way, okay, and that person felt uncomfortable, there is no other policy apart from termination.
Wow. Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
So that was one of the things, and this thing have not even spared their complete India head also, because his executive assistant at that point in time happened to complain about certain inappropriate advances that he has made onto her. So even he was checked out.
My God.
So not much of the companies happen to follow it on such a strict note and everything as such. Okay, but yes, whatever companies they are following, specifically they are not the Indian companies for sure. Because in Indian companies, the entire environment, each and everything happens to be a quite different one.
Also, I feel the Indian culture doesn't understand no.
Right.
It's very grey in our culture as it is. Like people will say yes, but they may not do something. Or people will say no and then they don't mean it fully and they expect other people to understand them and still serve them or food or something like that. So it's very deep-rooted cultural thing for us to not have a clear yes and no in many things. We did a program long back, actually 5-6 years ago. I was co-facilitating with someone, and it was a company. I think it was a Polish company. Polish, I don't remember the culture perfectly, but some European client, and they had a problem, and it was a very unique program we did. So it was called Art of Tactfulness. And the Art of Tactfulness was born because, and it became very popular later, that module, but it was born because this Indian group was always saying yes to whatever the Polish were asking. But they don't mean it. Like, they would sometimes get delayed or sometimes give excuses that, we said yes that time, but now this is a problem. And this was going on for like 5 years or so, apparently, in that organization. And then the CEO changed, and he saw it for a year or so. Then he called us, and he said that I want you to teach Indian. And the CEO now, first was an Indian, now it was a Polish guy. He said, now I want these Indian people to tell me yes or no when they mean fully or not. I understand circumstances change and you might have problems, but this yes and no confusion is just too much for me. I cannot take it. But I am now, earlier my counterparts in counterparts were getting affected, and it wasn't that urgent for us to solve this problem. But now that I am here and this is my team and I have to work with them day in and day out, they can't be doing it. So interestingly, when we did the program, they were like, "But ऐसे ही चलता है." Like, this is how IT works. And we were like, nice, he doesn't understand this. He was not part of the program, but I was like, and they were so relaxed about it, and they were so okay about it. And I was like, wow, amazing. Like, this is some other level. And then, I and my co-facilitator, we were like, okay, now we need to really work on this. So we decided to do this tactfully, that how tactfully you say yes and no and still be authentic. The program actually was about authenticity, but if we tell a group of Indian senior managers that they're going to go to a program called authenticity, they'll take it offensive immediately, saying we are not lying. That's the reaction we get. So instead of that, we called it tactfulness, and then we did the program, and it was a hit. That time they were like, yeah, you just solved it, because internally they were struggling to say yes and no. They were struggling inside themselves because the other people were very clear and they were not used to it. So that struggle got addressed instead of we saying that you're not being authentic. So I feel mindfulness kind of is that difference, that you actually address the problem and not the people, which is what the CEO felt, that the problem is with people and not the. So it was very nicely, like water and milk. When it breaks, the milk gets separated from water very quickly, and you come to know the amount of water you have. So the program just did. And I think because it's part of our culture, whether it's posh or whether it's many other, things, office politics or whatever, also not understanding people the way they are, all that is happening because nobody's addressing the struggle the person has being authentic, because it's not in our culture to be fully authentic. As kids also, like people come, a mother tells that, behave like this, don't wear this. It's nice to an extent, but sometimes it goes overboard. And then we just become image management kind of people. So I think it's also a lot to do with our culture also. And then people trying out new things on Instagram. Both.
Right.
So yeah, very interesting dynamics there. Anyway, I wanted to bring up one more thing which came to my mind when we were discussing this. That when we say authentic no or we say authentic yes, what happens?
Authentic, and what was the last word? I could not get it.
I'm saying authentic yes.
Okay.
Say
All right.
authentic yes. So there is a quote, a Zen saying, which says,
Mm-hmm.
authentic no is a yes to yourself.
Okay.
So I was anyway contemplating on that before a few days, and we had a printout that we had printed for some other reason, and it has that quote. I put it on my washing machine whenever I do laundry. I read that, and I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering, I was like, what does this really mean? This same thing. What do you think?
Can you give an example how exactly an authentic no is yes to yourself? In what ways?
Like for example, on authentic no is a yes to yourself in the sense that someone asks this food example only, let's take that. You
Mm-hmm.
go to a place, you have guests around, and you are a guest, you are eating at someone's place, and generally thoda aur lijiye is a very thing, like
Mm-hmm.
people like to feed others more and other things. But when you're really full and you say authentic no, that no, I mean, I just can't eat. I know I'm thankful that this food is delicious, everything you said, but you just say an authentic no. Because if you say yes to that, you are overstuffing yourself and it's not going to be healthy for you.
Right.
Same in a psychological context. So, someone asks you for some help,
Mm-hmm.
and you, out of obligation, you say yes, and maybe they ask you for your car for a few days. Now
Mm-hmm.
you love your vehicle, and you know the other person is a rash driver, and you still give it to them because you're obligated to, because it's someone
Mm-hmm.
related to them. But the authentic no there would be a yes to how you think. So
Okay.
that's how I interpret it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting it out there to contemplate on.
I remember one of the examples for this authentic no. Like I would be somewhere around 8, 9 years old. Okay, and at that moment, like my Masi used to knit sweaters for us. Okay, and every time she used to knit sweaters and all, so there were lot many magazines she used to give it to us, and outside, okay, fine, whatever designs you like, you can select it and let me know, and I'll knit your sweaters. Okay, so that was actually a tradition in our family when we were kids. Our eldest Masi used to do that.
Wow.
So every year I and my sister used to have a new sweaters and everything. Okay. And when, like for summer vacations and all, I used to visit my granny's place, which was in Varanasi. Okay. So there was one of our cousins, okay, who also loved knitting sweaters and everything as such for herself or for her siblings and all. So every year she used to ask me that, okay, fine, can you give me your sweater? I just really liked your design and everything, and I wanted to create another one for me. And every year I happen to have the same answer: no, I won't give you my sweater for knitting and all, because I do not wanted any duplicacy of the similar design. Though, like when I look at it now, that every cloth we wear or anything as such, there's nothing in terms of the authenticity. Millions of other people would be wearing the similar kind of clothes. But
Yeah.
this example came to my mind.
But I think as a child, to want variety is such a thing, right? Like you want something
Hmm.
different every year, or you want to eat something different, or you want to wear something different. On this,
Right.
not very related, but one of my nieces, she's
Mhm.
very sweet, very intelligent child. One day there was a wedding, and my sister was constantly asking her to wear something, and she said, "But you don't wear the sari I pick, so why should I wear something you pick for me?" So it is, it's a very authentic. She's like, this logic that because I'm a mother, she's like, yeah, so your top a big deal. Now I'll
Right.
pick a sari for you and you wear it. The whole room was like, frozen for a minute. I was like, what? I expect a child to say that, but that's an authentic no. I will not go by your choices right now. I need to make it clear, and that's a yes to myself. And that feels more
Right.
wholesome inside. And also, I feel it brings the quality of relationship that you develop is better. It's more wholesome, more peaceful for you to say no where you want to and clear it out so that the other person learns your preferences, the other person learns the way you operate or whatever is your truth. That comes out. Usually that won't. And then people, I think life kind of adjusts itself around you in your more authentic self. But yeah, I mean, this is what my experience is. I used to be not this. I was a marketing person earlier. And in my marketing career, I worked with real estate and I worked with many typically commercial organizations, construction clients and other things. And I realized that I had to tell things that I didn't want to. I had to write things that were not fully true. And then that continued in my corporate career also, the rest of my time. So I realized that a lot of times when I said authentic no, people didn't like it. It wasn't the culture over there, but they realized that I was not one of those people. So then they would give me jobs where I could
yourself.
Yeah, but is it your experience? Like you have spent a lot of years in corporates. What works for you?
Like, I have been always clear in which I wanted to do, I don't want to do. So most of the times if I'm not comfortable doing something, it almost straight away came as no. At times the other person happened to feel offended, so be it the personal front or the professional front, okay. But later on they realized, okay, that it was much better than saying yes. Because I know if I have said yes, I would not have been able to accomplish that work. No matter how small it was, no matter how big it was, okay. And if I would have straight away said no, I know my limitations, I could not have done that. So it was all clear.
Wow.
Though in our culture, of course, it sounds rude to straight away say no in the first go itself.
Yeah. Then that means you're not tried or, you wouldn't.
So just to clarify this, I think to answer this question, when we are using the word authenticity, are we interchanging and using it as being truthful or not truthful? Is authenticity meaning someone is truthful or not truthful? Is that what the context is for authenticity here?
No, not from my side. I don't know how Pragya has been looking at this. But Pragya, you can tell for yourself, not from my side.
Because usually I have observed. What do you think, Pragya?
I believe authenticity is somewhat related to the genuine reasons, if I'm not wrong. More than being truthful.
Yeah. I also have the same understanding that authenticity is more about being original or being genuine. And I firmly believe that everyone is genuine and original anyway. But somehow when we use this word authenticity in the context, we end up using it when we are referring to someone being truthful or not truthful. That is what my observation has been. So I'm just putting that out right now. Sorry.
So we were talking about whatever is our truth. We put that forward, and that's authenticity. But truth in what sense?
Correct. So genuinely I might also be feeling like not telling the truth. So then also I'm authentic.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I'm saying that usually the context of authenticity is when we feel that someone is not telling the truth, we feel that they are not being authentic. We say that this person is not authentic. That is what my observation has been. So I'm just putting that out. Is that correct, or is that your observation has been, or your definition of authenticity is something different? So both of yours, not just anyone.
It's not exactly truthfulness as for me. Okay. So could be a possibility that I would not have been truthful into that moment, but yes, I know that whatever the reasons I happen to have are genuine.
Are genuine, correct. So you are being still, you feel that you are being authentic, but maybe another person hearing you and perhaps maybe knowing that you are lying may feel that you are not authentic. Is that, would that be correct?
Right.
When we feel that someone is lying, we label them as they are not authentic, whereas the person might be telling a lie deliberately as well. So in their mind, they are authentic.
Could be a possibility.
Mhm. So keeping that is why I wanted to clarify that when we are talking about yes and no, I wanted to have the context clear, because a yes and no can come from, I could say a yes and no, and that yes and no could be a truth or a lie, but I will be deliberately doing it. So then in that case, am I authentic or not authentic?
Likewise, at certain times I have to do this. Okay. I'll give you some
We
examples
all
for
have
the
to.
country.
I mean, we have all done it.
No,
Yeah,
but
we all
I'm
tell
conscious
lies.
about
Yeah,
whatever it is. Okay.
I know.
So
Yep.
there are situations where I know that okay, fine, there's nothing much at this moment beyond than this that I can work it out, because obviously it's all interdependent from one team to the other, and that's how the entire company runs. Okay. But then, like, I could not go ahead and talk directly to our employees about it. Okay, fine. This was the actual reason, and this is why this has happened. Okay. So
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to give them a certain kind of another genuine reason, somewhere knowing the fact that, okay, fine, I know that this is not the exact truth, but somehow that saves the complete company's image. At the same time, the employee is also convinced.
Yeah. So in that moment, someone else. So I'm not talking to you because you feel authentic doing that. You are doing it
Right.
deliberately, right? So there is
Right.
no question that whether you feel authentic or not, but you definitely feel authentic. But what about the other person hearing you? Would then they term you as authentic or not?
That depends
Yeah,
about the
I think that
perception
would
that
depend
person
on
has
that
in life.
other person's perception, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, we have someone new who has joined. Hi, can you please announce yourself?
Hi, this is Swati. I'm sorry I'm late, but I just joined.
Oh, no worries.
Uh,
So, yeah, it depends on other people's perception, one. But I also feel, like I was saying earlier, that people life kind of adjusts around your authentic self. People learn about your preferences. People learn about how you operate, what is a good thing for you, what is not good with you, what you appreciate, what you don't. And then you start also attracting the kind of environment of people or job or work or anything. This is what I believe, and I think this is my experience more than me believing it now. Earlier I believed, but now this is actually what I feel.
And I have a question over here. What exactly can you do when you put across a straightforward no in the front of the other person, and the other person is still adamant, okay, fine, that there's still some chances that you can work this out? And you are aware that deep down there's no such further possibility where you can work this out.
I have a different opinion on this whole thing. It all starts with the intention of what we want to do. When you say that it can't be worked out, definitely there is a lack of choice or what we can think of in that moment, and we feel that right now there is nothing, right? So not negating that that in that moment we feel that it can't be worked out, but again, that can be taken as an absolute truth that it can't be worked out, or we can go ahead with the intention that do we want to work it out or we don't want to work it out. Because if the intention is to work something out, then options can be explored, more help can be sought, we can talk to more people, we can expand our options, and we can see. But if we have decided that no, this can't be worked out, or I don't want to work it out, then that's it. There is nothing to do. So personally, what I'm trying to say here is that in my life so far, I have always gone with the option that there are unlimited choices available. We don't see them, that is different thing. I don't see those choices, that's different thing. Right now I might only have two choices in front of me. That's just the limitation of me not seeing them. But somebody else facing the same problem, would they also see only two choices? They can have 5 choices. A third person might have 10 choices. Not everyone will respond to the same situation in the same way. It is not an absolute thing. It is an absolute thing for me right now because I don't have more choices. That's it. And if in my heart I have kind of come to the conclusion that no, that's it, then I will not work out. But if I have the option, if I have the intention, I think Ambika has an example that one time we had a business involvement, and we were going to have a kind of discussion with that person, and her brother was involved in that one as well. Thing that we kind of said that is our intention to go in this meeting to break it or to make it, and intention can save you and give you the options. So in my opinion, the first and foremost thing is the intention. Everything else comes later. If our intention is to make it, we will figure out ways to make it. If our intention is to break it, then we will figure out ways to break it. That is how I see it. I've always seen it that way. In a given moment, I might not see choices a lot, and that's fine. So Pragya, I shared my side of what I think of your question.
We spoke about authentic no, which works out as a yes for us. Can we speak about vice versa as well? Like authentic yes is a no to ourselves.
Can you tell me, like, what's the conclusion like? We discussed so far, like, the other different kind of things about it, but at the same time, this question is still there, and we still identifying what can we explore. So you're saying how authentic no is a yes to ourselves? Is it not clear, or what is it?
No, she's saying, can we also explore the other side of it?
So when authentic yes.
Would an authentic yes be an authentic no?
No, I didn't understand actually. Question, if you understood, then you talk and I'll catch up.
No, it's nothing to understand. Just change the words in your saying. So whatever the saying you have, just flip the words. That's all what she's saying. So there is no understanding. That is what we are trying to understand it.
Authentic yes is also yes to yourself.
Yeah, so her question is that if I say authentic yes, would that be authentic no to me? If we just flip the words in your sentence.
Yeah, no. I mean, the authentic yes to yourself means you are doing what you feel like. So if you're saying yes, you're still doing what you feel like, and if you're saying no, then you're still doing what you feel like. So it's still yes to yourself.
So both ways it's good. So that's what you're saying. Whether you say authentic yes or whether you say authentic no, it's both ways it's fine.
Yes to yourself, because that's what you feel, that's what your choice is, that's what you prefer, or that's what your truth is in that moment. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so I think the sentence is connected with the word truthfulness and not much, because as Pragya shared the example that sometimes she has to say no about something. She has to give a different reason for something, because she can't share with people. Um, we do that with kids also. We tell them something because so sometimes we tell other reasons to people just so that we can protect their feelings, don't so they don't get hurt or whatever like that. So there is a reason because of which we tell something, which may not be the original truth.
Yeah,
But then
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
so we are saying that when we are doing that, we already know that we are doing that. So in that moment, we are anyway authentic. So that this statement that you are using is not so much about authenticity, but it's so much about being truthful or not being truthful. Because truthful and authenticity are two different things. That is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm putting in the group also. That what do others think? I feel that authenticity and truthfulness are two different things.
Yeah, it is. But
Sometimes we can be lying and still authentic.
because that's what you want to do. That's what is the
Correct.
to lie in that moment and to manage the situation in a certain way. There is nothing wrong about it, and
Correct.
it could not be the truth, like in the situation wise, but it's true for you that you want to do it, and you're doing it in complete awareness, not as like an automatic habit. Yeah. So
Correct.
when we
Exactly.
talking about this Zen proverb, that's what also they mean, that at the no that you say is a yes to yourself, in the sense, if you are saying no and it's not the truth, but that you said yes to yourself, yes to what you feel like doing in that moment.
So yeah, so if I interpret that statement authentic no, meaning that um, if I would have said yes as being untruthful, then saying yes in a situation where I don't want to say yes, but I'm saying yes, right? So someone asks me something and I say yes to it, but let's say someone asks me, do you want to go there? And I say yes, but actually I don't want to go there. So even when I go there, I will actually not feel good because I never wanted to go there.
Yeah, because and then that
So
is
I will.
no.
So exactly. So I will probably be complaining the whole way and feel like I only came here because you asked me, and now you are not appreciating that I came here for you and all that. So I'll make up all those stories in my head, whereas I could have just said no.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
So this is where I am saying that I am interpreting this whole statement from truthful and not truthful point of view. So there is no authenticity. The word authentic is used here, but I think authenticity and truthfulness are two different things.
Yeah, what is truthfulness?
That's the truth. That's the congruent part of me. I congruently I am not feeling I want to go. So if I don't want to go, I should just say no, I don't want to go.
No, I'm
But
asking
maybe
like,
to protect the feelings. Sorry.
yeah, I'm just asking difference between authenticity and saying that this is different. So,
Yeah. So like I said that sometimes I can tell a lie and still be authentic. Let's say I tell you, um, I don't want to go. Sorry, I feel like I don't want to go, but I go. But I tell you, yes, I'll come. But then I make that statement true by not projecting my uncomfort. Then I'm authentic. So when I live the truth, when I live the lie, then I'm authentic. When I'm not living the lie, that is when the discomfort comes.
no, but you're saying congruency is authenticity and congruency is also truthfulness.
No, congruency is not truthfulness. Congruency sometimes means that I am deliberately not telling you the truth, and I know that, and I'm okay with that. When my thought, feelings, and actions are congruent, so in that moment I might be telling you that um, a lie, but I
That is
am
okay.
okay with that lie.
Correct. That you're okay with. So, what
Yes.
then it is being truthful.
Then I'm authentic.
You're
No, then
completely
I'm authentic. No. In that moment, I'm authentic. I'm not truthful because I know I'm telling a lie, so I am not truthful.
yeah. So we
Truthful
talked
is
about.
truthful.
So why do you think the
Tru-
Zen proverb is not about authenticity and it's about truthfulness?
because of the way it's worded. When it says authentic, no, I am interpreting it as what it means is that truthful no. When a truthful no comes, so what they are perhaps saying is a truthful no, not a
That's what, if you go into depth of this, so this was also discussed as a koan once. Koans are puzzles like Zen monks would give their students, and it's also a part of this statement is also part of a koan. A long back, I don't remember the details of the koan, but I remember that at the end of it, um, it's not truthfulness, it's all about authenticity. There is nothing actually called truthfulness. Maybe truthfulness is a subset of authenticity once in a while, or that's what it meant. Because authenticity is like everybody is authentic in a way. In their own way, they may not be
true.
truthful all the time, but all the people in this world are actually being authentic in that moment to whatever they feel like they say. And when they don't say, they
True.
also know that they are not being authentic, which is also allowed, which is something very authentic to see also, that, oh, I have not been authentic here. And that is high level of self-awareness as well,
Uh,
which is also part of this whole,
what I am my so my understanding is that when I am not saying something and I am aware that I am not saying something, then in that moment I'm authentic because I'm
yes,
deciding not to say something.
yeah, and
So
that's the
another
difference.
person might interpret it as not being authentic because they may feel that oh, you should have said this or you should have done it like this.
Correct.
So according to them it may be unauthentic, but in that moment I don't feel like saying it, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm authentic.
Correct. So there is nothing to do with truthfulness when it comes to this quote, because truthfulness is a very, it's like a part of this, but it's not the truth. Authenticity could be the truth, but truthfulness is very subjective and depends whether you want to be authentic about your truth
True,
or not.
true, true. And I agree, and this is the reason why I wanted to have this distinction between truthfulness and authenticity, because our discussion is not on authenticity and truthfulness. Our discussion is on this question that you have posted about authentic yes or authentic no being a authentic yes. That is the point here.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that
For no
when
external
I'm saying authentic means
Hello?
congruently I'm saying no. When I have to say no, I'm saying no. That is what it means, right?
Yeah, so not mixing morals in this, basically. Basically, truthfulness
So
could be
not
also
mixing the morals.
moral. Yeah. Morals are a concept that is,
Truthfulness will be
yeah, go ahead.
yes. That is my understanding. When we talk about truthfulness, we are talking about, and when we are talking about authenticity, then we are flexible in terms of morality, because there I can knowingly tell a lie, consciously tell a lie,
Exactly, and see,
and I'm doing it for some good reason. Whatever that reason makes sense to me may not make sense to other people, and they might label me as unauthentic, but it makes sense to me why I'm doing it or not doing it.
also if
So
we go back,
morals can be a bit flexible.
correct. So if we go back to the discussion we had initially, when I and Pragya were talking about Posh and how culturally things could be taken differently, and now the punishment is like, the top thing, like termination and stuff. Now the thing is, someone's morals could allow them to speak in a certain way or look at someone in a certain way or whatever. According to them, morally they are not doing anything wrong. But for someone else who has a different perception about these things and association to a certain action, then it becomes uh, an offense. And then, of course, those people get mashed into it because morals are very, very subjective topics, and they're very, very, to a degree they're different from one house to the other, and then maybe one culture we have some parts in common, and as a world we have some parts in common, and there are some things which are a definite no, and then there are things that are the definite yes. But if we see, the amount of gray is may much bigger than the white and the black. So basing behavior on truthfulness is not even logical. I mean, forget about being emotionally intelligent. It's not even logical to do that because there's just so much gray. And then you're going only by your morals and saying that, oh, my morals are right. That just being a lot of.
And I agree with that. I think that is a very good point, and I agree with that
Your voice is
that is
very, very
as an
bad.
observation.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, much better.
Yeah. So I'm saying that what you just said, that makes total sense, and I just want to share uh, something ironical or opposite of what we just talking, because when we talk it feels logical, it feels what we are saying is this and that. However, when most people you talk to most people and they will talk about that honesty or integrity is there. People who are honest, they value people who are truthful. So we value all these things from others, whereas inside we know that we are capable of lying. We lie, we bend the truth, and we do that for good reasons, not to manipulate people. Also, sometimes I'm not even talking about people who are doing it for manipulation or anything. I'm talking about good people with good hearts, having good intention, and still not being truthful. So
Yeah,
we
a
know
mother
this.
do that to her
We know
child.
this.
I mean, it's
Mother will do that to their child, and we know this. We do this ourselves, and yet we expect honesty and truthfulness from others. And when we don't get it, we label them that they are not authentic. That is what I am saying here.
that's a very
That is
paradox.
what my observation.
Yeah, fact of life, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, if 12. Pragya, you have anything to add or share with us?
Nothing much into this topic. Yeah, but certain examples were coming into my mind while you guys were talking about authenticity, each and everything.
Oh wow. You could share maybe one of yours.
Yep.
Right. I was working in Varanasi, okay, and the boss I happen to have, he has a habit of shouting at every of one of us for anything that comes to his mind, okay, at any point in time. Not necessarily not sure that we were at mistake or anything as such, but that was his habit, okay. And he was like what? At least 20-25 years elder to me at that moment, okay, and like that was one of the very brown and renowned like organizations of the newspaper, okay. So that was very strange for me, that how exactly he can treat people like that, okay. And prior to that, the work experience I happened to have was one of the organizations where ethics was the most integral thing into that company, okay. So coming and working over here, though I was sure that this was the contractual opportunity and I won't be working here for more than 6 months, that's the max, okay. But still this behavior of him made me uncomfortable multiple times. So I decided to take it up on my own, because when I spoke to the colleagues and all, they were too afraid to talk to him about anything. So I went up on my own, spoke to him that whatever this behavior is there, so it does not matter I'm a female or a male employee, okay, if there's anything wrong that we have done, being as a senior into this industry, into this role that you are into, sit with us, talk with us, let us know how exactly we can make it better, okay. And even if that does not work out, maybe give it once more a try to us, maybe what ways we are running, what ways we are trying, that can work out something else for you, maybe which you have not experimented or tried earlier. But again, there was no such impact onto it, and it continued, okay. So even me taking up this further with him for 2 times, 3 times, 4 times did not happen to go ahead and make any sense to him. So yes, I was authentic into my reasons, okay. I was not lying to him that how exactly this behavior of him is making everyone uncomfortable around him, but that did not make any sense to him. So ultimately, I was not left out with any other choice. One of the senior managers whom he was reporting and all visited our premises. I could not speak anything to them in front of him. So obviously, he was there standing at my head, and I can't talk about him to them. And I genuinely wanted to talk to them about him, which I did not do it, okay. And later on, when I realized that, okay, fine, this is not something that I can bear it any further, I dropped an email to all his possible seniors, everyone, okay, mentioning each and everything that has been ongoing since long, and how uncomfortable I am, and how exactly I'll not be able to continue anything further. So this could be one of the reasons when we try not to be authentic and we are lying, because we are sure that the other person will somehow not be able to understand, even if we go and speak truth to them.
Yeah.
And what this leads to his transfer in one of the remote locations of the country, which I was not happy with, okay, but and that was a decision of the top management. I was no longer a part of that organization that I can speak about. And another good thing that happened, the mail which I happened to float across and everything, okay. That time I was in a kind of, you can say, mindset that where exactly I was not able to hear myself also due to this entire behavior session and everything. So when his superiors called me up to understand more about it and everything, I could not explain it to them. I told them that whatever I have seen over the email, I think that's more than sufficient to explain my situation or the people who have been a part of that organization. But I would not be able to explain you guys over the call about anything.
Yeah. Great example, actually.
So it was not like that in the first attempt only we straight away go and say no, okay. We kept on trying, making the other people understand multiple times. We take efforts, we do things, okay. And still, if the other person has decided, they've closed their mindset that, okay, fine, I will not understand it, okay, then obviously we'll come to the next resort. And now in today's discussion, when we were contemplating about this thing, this example came across to my mind.
That
okay,
you,
fine.
what you are talking about.
Right. That I was authentic. Because my intentions were like this, that I wanted him to get moved out of the company or get him transferred to a certain remote locations or anything as such. But
Yeah.
that happened. And maybe due to which he never would have hired any female employees into his organization or into his team and all. I don't know what kind of impact would have made it onto him.
Right. So what was the impact of this on you?
For a month or so, I was contemplating the entire thing, that how exactly I managed to survive and work under him for almost like 5 months. And then I realized that Varanasi could not be one of the places where you can work professionally or you can see your professional development happening. That was the last time I tried, because post like 2010, I decided, okay, fine, let me try looking out for some opportunities into my hometown only, okay, and see how exactly things goes out. And this was a classic example, because during the course of the interview and discussions, I kept on telling him about me and how exactly the way I work, okay, and everything was there. So he really did not happen to have any problems or the concerns. And the job profile I was into, that was completely new. I have never done that before, okay. But I know that I can work it out, anything that involves talking to people.
Yeah. Have you heard of Brahma Kumari's sister Shivani?
I think so.
There was a talk from her I heard a few years ago. So in that one, there is a whole series that she does with Suresh Oberoi. And in one of the talks, she's talking about how when, let's say, there is a husband and wife relationship, and the wife complains that like, I do so many things, or usually in an Indian scenario, women feel a lot that they do, and then sometimes in a like a what you call this joint family scenario, where there is a lot of elder people also around and all that, and they don't feel very open to express how they are feeling about things, and they continue to do a lot, and just basically maybe suffer in silence, and not speak up that much. And then sometimes when there is a fight with the husband or something, then lots comes out and all that. So she was talking about that, and it's not just only for women, men, it also applies to men also, but the example she was taking was this, but it applies both ways. And she was saying that how sometimes women feel that if the husband has asked them that let's go do this today, and the woman feels that, oh, I can't say no, so they go. So this is about that authentic no or authentic yes, and they do that. But then as they are doing it, they're not fully into it, because it wasn't their idea to do it. So somehow they feel that they should do it. Perhaps the husband asked them to do it, and then they start doing it. Let's say they go for a picnic or something. But then while they are doing it, somewhere during that, they start feeling that this is not my idea. This is not my idea of how I want to enjoy the day. I wanted to do something different, and now I am stuck here doing this. And they are feeling this. But they're not talking about it. They're not saying that. And then the whole argument, the whole thing will then just become something else. They'll probably, something happened on the trip, and all that anger will come out. Whereas the source of the anger was that she didn't want to do it to begin with. But then something else becomes a reason for that anger to come out, and it just comes out so much, and then maybe the anger comes out for many other things also. And then the husband gets very confused that what happened? You were so happy when we started and you wanted to do this, and now all of a sudden just a small thing happened, a small mistake happened, and then the reaction is so big for that small thing. Whereas the reaction was not for that small mistake. The reaction was for her feeling that she can't say no, or that authentic no. Um, and then she talked about something very beautiful in there, which I liked, because the thing is that we can all be very authentic yes and no kind of people, um, and we can all learn to say authentically yes or authentically no, and that way we will probably have very less common things to do with each other, because I would want to do one thing which I like to do, but the other person doesn't want to do it. Then next day they want to do something, I don't want to do it, and that way if we just go with authentic yes and no. So she went ahead and she talked about that. How can we actually reframe our mind to, instead of saying a yes or no, first see that, can I enjoy this activity? Can I make this activity mine? Okay, the other person has suggested it, but how about I first try to feel that, can it be mine? And if I really can't enjoy that, and if I really can't do anything, then of course I can say yes or no. But if I always keep going with my preferences, then between two people things will not go ahead, because all have different preferences all the time. So thinking about it that way, that can I make this decision mine, rather than feeling that someone has imposed this decision on me and now I have to be authentically yes or authentically no for this thing. Can I suspend that and think that, what if I to do this as well? And that way, if everyone sees it that way, even at work, if we see it that way, rather than think my manager asked me to do this. Yes, the manager asked you to do that, but can you now own it? Can you now make it your own? Then things can go in a different way. But if we always look at from saying yes or no because right now I don't feel like doing it, or right now I don't want to do this because that is not this and that, then I think very less things that are left between two people to do, if both start to practice that authentic yes and no.
So true. And with this, I remember another example. I never wanted to go on any kind of road trip, okay? And my family, my husband's family, they are very keen on going to the road trips, and they practically enjoyed it. So the first time, I was very apprehensive. I don't know what would I do or anything as such. But still I went ahead. Let me experiment. I might like it. And it's continuously 3 years, 3-4 months, we go to a road trip and we actually enjoy that. And every time it's an unplanned one. It's never a planned one.
Yeah.
That's another dimension.
Yeah.
But there is a difference into it, okay? The thing is that, like, even if I'm not sure or even if I'm not comfortable with certain things, I wanted to give it a try. I want to experiment. But that might not be the same cause with anyone else. And then I do not regret about my decision, okay? If I made a decision, I wanted to do it, I'll do it, and I'll give my complete self into it. But that might not be the case for the others.
I think that is the thing, because like we all do that. We've all done that. I have also done that. I'm sure Ambika has done that as well. We all have done this kind of thing where we say yes to doing something which we don't want to do. I think the crux of that talk that I heard from Sister Shivani was not that we say yes and let's give it a try. It was more like, let me make it my decision. Let me not do it because the other person is asking me to do it, and let me give it a try, because still we are in the frame that I'm doing it for another person. I still am in that frame that I'm just trying. Let me try if I like it or not, and things like that. And I've been asked to do this, and other person is asking me to do this, and midway I just feel that, what am I doing? I didn't even want to be here. I didn't even want to do this kind of thing. What a waste of time, and things like that. Then all of a sudden I'm kind of always ready to give up. That's the thing. I'm always on the edge. The moment something happens, I will just drop the ball because it was not my idea to begin with anyway. So I think that was the talk which was more around first reframing ourselves to make that idea from the other person. But can I make it mine as if the idea was mine? And even now, if I'm not enjoying it, even if this was the worst and bad idea, still I feel that it was my idea. Even if it's a bad decision, it was my bad decision. So not really blaming the other person that I'm doing it for you, I tried it for you, I have come here for you, and things like that. So not coming from that attitude, because it does project on the other person. People can still feel it.
True.
In workplace happens so many times that we feel that, oh, this was the idea, that was some other person came up with the idea, it's not my idea. I'm just trying to be part of it. I'm trying to do it. So own it completely and then trying it, then there is no complaint there. We did it. To adopt someone's idea as your own idea and try to it is difficult, but I find that it is still worth trying that way. I found that it was a good suggestion.
Great. Yet another episode of the conversations is on to something very deep and something amazing on emotional intelligence. I'm sure a lot of people who are looking for whether to say yes or no and how to do it and things like that might find this very useful. So thank you so much again, Sachin.
Thanks, Ambika. Thanks, Akhil.
Thank you.